Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics in the shed, and today we are going to be looking at how to fillet a brim. When we start our fishing journey, the brim is going to be one of the species that we're most likely to catch. So I thought we'd start our filleting series, filleting a brim. So we'll often take kids out fishing and we'll teach kids how to fish. And one of the first fish they'll catch is the brim, and we give them the opportunity whether they want to release the fish or whether they want to bring the fish home. If they want to bring the fish home for a feed, then we always teach them to respect their catch. So basically, we want to keep this fish in the best condition we can, respect it, and then it's ready for the table and it's the best eating quality it can be. So for us, when we're out there fishing, that means putting the fish into an ice slurry or into the ice box to keep it in good condition. And then when we're back home again, it means learning to fillet so that we're not wasting any of the meat on the fish. So we want to try and get the most we can out of that fish. So I've got my filleting kit here, Toadfish folding fillet board and folding fillet knife. So this is a great board for those, you know, whether you're on the move. It's great for camper trailers, great for the kayak, backpack, boat. You can pretty much take it anywhere with you. Where are we looking there? I want to try and get in nice and close for you guys so you can follow this as I go. This board folds away nicely, and it's got a knife sharpener, well, a couple of knife sharpeners on here, one to put an edge on and then one to tidy that edge up and keep it nice and smooth. And then we've got our folding fillet knife as well, which is nice and sharp. So alrighty, our brimbo, here's one we prepared earlier. Not a monster fish, but that's about sort of an average size brim that you might catch when you're out there. So we can see our brim on there. I'm going to give you a nice close-up of what I'm doing here so that you can follow what I'm doing. So with your brim, some people might actually just scale their brim and gut and gill the fish, and that way they can bake it whole or that sort of thing. Others will like to just basically go in behind the fin here, and they'll basically just cut into the fish and run the knife along the backbone and out to the tail. The problem I find with that with brim is they're a bit of a scavenger fish out there, so they eat a lot of all sorts of bits and pieces, and they can be quite a smelly fish in the gut cavity. So the way that I fillet them, I try not to penetrate the gut cavity if I can, and it makes the whole process cleaner and also a bit less on the nose. So our brimbo, when I first start with a brim, hopefully we don't butcher it because we're sitting down and we normally stand up and fillet, but basically there's a soft part right up to the head here. So basically I'm just going to cut into the fish right up near the top of the head, and that's my first cut on the fish. Just cut in behind the head, right up hard against where the skull is here. And then I'm going to basically take the knife and I'm running down and along the top of the backbone. So you'll feel the knife will run on top of the bones. I'm trying not to waste too much here, so we do nice, take our time, do a nice neat job. So I'm cutting in along the top of the fish, so you can see the bones there. That's the backbone of the fish, and I'm working my way down along the bones. So I'm actually just using the bones to guide the knife, and I can do that right down along the back here. So I'm using my thumb to lift the fillet up while I use the knife to just slide along. So I'm not doing a lot of work with the knife, I'm just sliding it along the back. This is a nice sharp knife as well. So now I've kind of got down towards the back of the fin, and then I'm just coming back up the other way. My finger is well out of the way, but you can see there, I'm just working the knife back in along the bones. So I'm pulling the meat away from the bones, and you can see the backbone there. So I'm in nice and tight, and I haven't left meat up the top here at all. When we get down here near the butt of the fish, basically I'm just going to run the knife above the backbone, and I'm going to pop out just near the butt of the fish, and I'm going to run that knife down the rest of the fish, running that knife along the backbone so that we don't leave meat on the backbone. Now I'm going to work back up again. I'm working back up towards the rib cage of the fish. Okay, I'll take a little bit, go a little bit further in here. Always watching your fingers. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'll have a look here so you can see there. I'm going to bring the knife in, and I'm just using the knife to go up over the top of the rib bones. So I'm going to run that knife up over the ribs, and that's going to ensure that I don't puncture that belly cavity of the fish. Alright, so you can see there I've come up through the top here and I've cut that off, and I'm running that knife over the top of the ribs and down to where we put the knife through earlier. So basically we've ended up with a nice fillet off the side of the fish, and you can see the fish there. We've basically taken the meat from around the fish and down without puncturing that belly cavity. So you can see there on that fish, we've come around there and we haven't cut into those rib bones, so we don't have to get those rib bones out of the fillet, and the gut cavity is pretty much still intact there as well. So that's our fillet off the brim on one side. Now we still will have some bones in here, we'll have some pin bones. I personally like to skin my fish as well, in which case all I'll do is basically hold the tail of the fillet, and I'm just going to run the knife up along the skin. So I'm holding the skin down with my hand and I'm running the knife up over the skin. That takes off the scales. I don't have to worry about scaling the fish, and I don't have that skin on there. So you can see we haven't wasted any meat on that skin. That's purely just skin and scales left there. So skin and scales, we can put them in to go in the crab pot, and there we've got a nice fillet of fish almost ready to go. Down through the middle here where the backbone is, you'll find some pin bones, some small bones in there. So basically you want to feel where those are, grab your knife, and we're going to go cut our pin bones out. So you can feel those bones, don't want to leave any of them in there. So we're cutting just a little sort of V around that bloodline, around our backbone, and we're taking out those pin bones. I've got one little one there I've missed as well, but we'll take out our pin bones. And now we are bone free. So that's the little piece that runs down the middle there with the bones. And there is our fillet, basically ready to go, ready to eat. And we've left no meat on that fish, so we can be happy that we've respected our catch and we've got a nice brim fillet there to go. So let's see how we go again with the other side there. So that's our brim with one fillet taken off. Now we're basically turning the fish over, and we're going to do the same thing from the other side. So again, up near the top of the head there, you can see where it sort of changes colours and that. It's quite soft up to a point, and then it goes quite hard. So we're just going to go in the top of the fish there. And again, we're just going to run that knife down along the bones. You'll often find you're better on one side of the fish than the other. I'm not so good sitting down, but that's okay. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing here. So I'm basically just running the knife down the backbone. A few scales on there. So now I'm going to come in and get in a bit tighter on those bones. Again, using my thumb in there. Watch your fingers, you don't want to cut yourself, but using my thumb to pull the fillet away from the backbone while I run the knife down there. And again, I'm going to reach a point here where I'm going to want to put the knife through and out the back. So again, watch your pinkies. We're going over the top of the backbone. You'll feel the backbone there. And we're good to go there. And we can just run that knife down across the rest of the fish. Oh, and out we go. And now we want to get the rest of the meat off the fillet there. So we're going to work our way back up a little. Try not to make a little bit of a mess on one bit there. And then I want to come into the backbone again. So into the backbone right along there. Right through here, and sometimes the trickiest bit is getting over the ribs here, so I'm just going to go again with a little bit more taken off there so that I can cut in over the top of the ribs. And you can see there, that's the rib cage, so I don't want to penetrate that, so I'm going over the top of the ribs. I can now slip my knife in there, and then I can slide it down over the top of the rib cage and just follow our fillet down to where we went through before. So again, I messed up a little down near the end here, but you can see there on that fish, there's not a lot of meat left on that fish, that's for sure. So we've taken our two fillets from the fish. We ended up just knocking out a little gut cavity, our gut cavity open a little bit there, but that's the fish, pretty clean. Two fillets off, one either side, working from the top down into the rib cage, around the rib cage, out the bottom end, take the rest off, and then we just come back and go over the rib cage again. So that's the way we do it. So that's the way I do it anyway. There's lots of different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way. However you can best get the fillet off that fish. I like to start in from the top, run that knife along the bones. We're basically working down until we get to the ribs sort of there. Then I'll go through to where the butt is, take the rest of the fillet off, and then I'll come back up and tidy up over the ribs and take that piece off. And that is our brim, and that won't be wasted either. That'll go in the crab pot, and we might get ourselves a mud crab. And then our fillet here, like we did before, I'm just going to run the skin off that. So we'll take our skin off this fish. You can use a fork to hold the skin if you like. Some people use a fork. I just use my fingers generally and push them into the board. And then that's our skin gone. Put that in our crab bait. And again, we want to take these pin bones out. So you'll feel those pin bones in the fish. Run that knife down either side of those pin bones. We'll take them out. Big on no bones, because I grew up with two younger sisters, so when I used to fillet fish, there'd be big trouble if there was bones. So definitely don't leave bones in the fish. So there we go. That's our... No bones in him, no bones in that bit. So there's one brim fillet, two brim fillets, ready to go for dinner. So hopefully that helps you if you do want to keep a brim for a feed so that you don't waste any of the meat. There's two good brim fillets there for a fish burger or fish and chips. Might need a few chips with that one, or maybe one or two more brims. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you next time you're out fishing and you do want to keep a brim for a feed. Remember, respect your catch, and also remember, don't take any more fish than you need, so we leave them out there for future generations as well. So all the best with the fishing. Cheers.